All right, folks, we're about to take our first step into the land of the great and impressive Great Wall of China. Close your eyes for a moment and get ready to journey deep into the past. Behind this magnificent structure, there's not just stone and earth, but so much more than you can imagine. We're heading back thousands of years, to the cold winds blowing from the north and the battle cries echoing along the borders. Back then, the land of China was vulnerable to the ruthless attacks of northern tribes. That's why Qin Shi Huang would emerge on the historical stage, building a massive wall to unite and protect China. But this is just the beginning, my friends. This story is about power and will, sacrifice, and legends. This colossal structure, built with the sweat of thousands of workers, where hopes were buried in the ground and pain was part of the construction, rose up with the heart and soul of China. The Great Wall isn't just a boundary, it's a monument to the peak of human will. So let's step together into this tale woven from legends, wars, disappointments, and hopes. All right, friends, now we're diving into the legendary past of the Great Wall of China, tracing back to the very first foundations laid deep within its lands. Just imagine, in the harsh winds of the 7th century BC, as the dusty roads echoed through the mountains, powerful dynasties were battling over China's divided territories. The magnificent Great Wall hadn't fully taken shape yet, but the people, eager to protect themselves from attacks, especially from the nomadic tribes coming from the north, had begun to create local defense lines. Each dynasty was looking for ways to fend off these troublesome attacks by building various walls to safeguard their borders. These early walls were made of thick stones or tightly packed earth. Each one was part of a local defense system. And perhaps at the very beginning, no one even knew that one day such a massive structure would be born. During that time, many dynasties ruled over China, each constructing their own walls in different regions. Great kingdoms like Chu, Qi, and Wei managed to build defenses against the northern enemies, but they all faced a common threat: communities like the Xiongnu, known for their fast-moving, raiding warriors on horseback. These nomadic fighters would suddenly descend, wreak havoc on villages, and then vanish like the wind. Every wall held many stories within it. These fortifications made of earth, stone, and wood weren't just military protection, they symbolized the struggle of dynasties to survive. Imagine a kingdom gazing up at the night sky, perhaps praying not to hear the sound of horses' hooves approaching from the north. Over time, these small walls became part of the dynasty's show of strength, each trying to be longer and more durable than the others. These initial structures laid the groundwork for what we now know as the Great Wall of China. And friends, the stories hidden behind those walls weren't just memories etched into stone. The dreams, hard work, and lost lives of the workers who built those walls became part of the land. All these defense lines would one day merge into a single whole as the dynasties united. Now, as we take these first steps toward the grand dream of the Great Wall, can you feel the ancient hopes and fears that lie beneath the stones that were laid? All right, friends, we've arrived at one of the most unforgettable rulers in Chinese history, Qin Shi Huang. During his reign, the heart of China would thunder with a monumental creation that would leave its mark on history: the Great Wall of China. The time was the tumultuous days of the 3rd century BC. China was fragmented, with each dynasty seeking power in its own region. However, Qin Shi Huang would be the leader to end this fragmentation and unite China. He had a single goal: to unify the lands of China and put a definitive stop to the terrifying attacks from the northern nomadic tribes, particularly the Xiongnu. In those days, fighting against the nomads from the north was a tough task because they would strike quickly and then vanish just as suddenly. Qin Shi Huang realized that the only way to eliminate this threat was to build a massive wall. But this wouldn't be just any wall that would serve as a shield wrapping around China, a giant protecting its heart from invaders. So Qin Shi Huang set out to construct this great defensive barrier. Now, my friends, there was another truth behind the wall's construction, and that was the suffering of the people. To bring such a grand structure to life, countless peasants and soldiers were mobilized. Many were even forced to work. Qin Shi Huang saw his armies and people as building blocks in this colossal project. Under the scorching sun, their hands calloused, they laid the stones one by one. Each stone carried a hope, a fear, and a life. It's said that the spirits of those who lost their lives while working on this massive structure still echo in the winds that sweep along the wall. Qin Shi Huang's wall wasn't just a defensive line, it was a saga shaped by oppression, labor, and pain. This colossal structure rose as a legacy etched in the heart of China. The people of those days would remember Qin Shi Huang's power and ruthlessness every time they looked at the wall. Each stone symbolized both a protective shield and the resilience of a nation. The nomads would hesitate before this newly united China behind the Great Wall, feeling the weight of that immense power with every step. Qin Shi Huang left behind a strong empire and a legend. Now, every Chinese person standing in the shadow of this great wall would listen to his story with the wisdom of ages and ponder the secrets hidden behind those stones. Ah, dear friends, while the construction of the Great Wall of China began during the Qin dynasty, it was truly transformed into a grand and powerful structure by the Han dynasty. Qin Shi Huang's massive wall was practically reborn during the Han era. The Han emperors were focused not only on protecting the country, but also on making this colossal structure a strategic center. To effectively counter the threats from the north, they set out to reinforce every stone of the Great Wall and expand it even further. The Han dynasty took significant measures against the Xiongnu tribes to use the wall, not just as a defense line, but also as a hub for communication with distant lands and to protect trade routes. The birth of the Silk Road coincided with this period. One of China's most precious treasures, silk, needed secure passage as traders transported it to the west. The Han dynasty safeguarded this valuable trade route by utilizing the Great Wall. Now, this massive wall had become a path not just for warriors, but also for traders, adventurers, and travelers from far-off lands. During those times, every trader who saw the wall felt safe as they crossed China's borders. Seeing the wall not just as a military stronghold, but as the lifeblood of the entire empire, the Han emperors didn't view it as just a wall. They established garrisons, stationed soldiers, and built a strong unity between traders and guards. It's said that the sound of traders' footsteps walking in the shadow of the wall mixed with the clanking of soldiers' armor, showcasing how trade and war converged within this ancient structure. Thus, thanks to the Han dynasty's wise governance, the Great Wall evolved beyond just being a wall. It became a shield protecting China from external threats and a lifeline that nourished the Silk Road, keeping trade vibrant. This Grand Wall had now become a home for both war and commerce, carrying China's wealth and power into future generations. Ah, the Great Wall of China. It's not just a marvel of engineering because of its length and strength, but also because of the secrets behind its construction that are deeply rooted in history. You can guess that creating the wall required more than just ordinary stones, right? It goes beyond being a simple wall. Each stone and every earth and fill was carefully selected and meticulously placed. The techniques used to build this massive structure were so impressive that even thousands of years later, figuring out the secret behind it standing tall still inspires awe. The stones used in the Great Wall were layered with earth fills and compacted materials. Anyone who looks closely at its remnants will quickly notice that these stones were carefully selected from mountains and riverbeds. What's even more interesting is that in some sections, compressed earth and wood were used instead of stones. Especially in remote areas where stone resources were scarce, workers used every material available to keep the wall going. The layers of earth and stones were compacted over days, creating a wall so solid that even sections built this way have withstood natural disasters and the passage of centuries. But my friends, it wasn't just the materials used that made the wall so strong. The Great Wall was a defense line equipped with watchtowers at every point. These towers were strategically placed so that any enemy movement would be detected immediately. At that moment, the soldiers in the towers would start communicating with torches, instantly alerting towers kilometers away about any approaching danger. Some sources say that these towers would glow like sparks at night, with each torch flickering as a warning of an incoming enemy. These watchtowers served not only as lookout posts, but also as bases for soldiers to rest and store food and supplies. This way, even at the farthest points of the wall, a warrior would never be without food or a safe place to shelter. The strategic importance of the Great Wall, along with its defense strategies and construction techniques, made it much more than just a wall. It became a shield protecting northern China, a guarantee for the people to live safely. Now my friends, let me take you to those distant lands where great tension and struggle unfolded. To the time when the Great Wall of China became a defensive line protecting the lush valleys and cities of the south from the ruthless nomads of the north. This giant of stone and earth wasn't just an ordinary wall, it was China's only shield against countless threats. The Huns, Mongols, and other nomadic groups would come charging in on horseback, fearlessly pressing against China's borders. During that time, the Great Wall rose not just as a boundary line, but as a wall protecting the heart of a nation. These nomadic warriors from the north were so agile and skilled on the battlefield that it became nearly impossible to counter China's traditional war strategies. Imagine this: to stand against these groups that could swiftly advance across vast plains and raid castles in an instant. China needed not only brave warriors, but also a massive strategic defense. That's where the Great Wall played a crucial role. The watchtowers rising along the wall, the vigilant eyes of soldiers on duty, and the ever-alert defenders. When the nomadic armies reached the foot of the wall, they found not an easy target, but a massive, impenetrable barrier. Is that all, my friends? The soldiers behind the wall were specially trained, developing strategies to repel the enemy and thwart nomadic raids. Even when the nomadic warriors managed to get beyond the wall, the defensive arrangements of the wall would trap enemy forces in narrow passes, rendering their attacks ineffective. At that time, the Great Wall was not just a structure, it was a sacred line of defense that soldiers and civilians alike fought to protect with all their might. Thanks to the Great Wall, border security became so robust that military movements aimed at breaching this wall posed a significant challenge for any army. For the people behind this wall, the Great Wall offered peace and safety, like a mother's embrace. After years of war and conflict, behind this ancient wall, a nation breathed peacefully. Ah, my dear friends, it's time to take you back to the powerful and glorious era of the Ming Dynasty. The Great Wall of China, as we know it today, majestic and sturdy, came to be thanks to the determined efforts of this wise and strong dynasty. Back then, when the shadow of Mongol invasions once again loomed over Chinese territory, the Ming emperors decided to follow in their ancestors' footsteps and transform the Great Wall from just a defensive line into a symbol of national security. The Mongols were constantly a threat, pushing the borders with their unique raiding strategies. During the previous dynasties, the wall was made of earth and wood, but the Ming emperors found this insufficient against such powerful incursions. So they embarked on a massive renovation project using more durable materials. Thus, the process of rebuilding the wall began, aiming for a stronger structure using not just dirt and mud, but also stone and brick. Skilled masons, workers, and engineers set to work with great determination to renovate the Great Wall from end to end. The wall became solid, standing strong like the mountains themselves, surpassing what could be made by human hands. This new Great Wall was designed to stop Mongol armies and protect the people, adorned with high towers, observation areas, and strategic gates. Every stone and every brick represented a commitment to the safety of the people and the protection of the empire's borders. With the Ming dynasty's determination, this wall stood as an impenetrable fortress, a guardian of the borders. The Great Wall you see today stands as a legacy of those years. Built with stone and brick, this colossal structure is not just a building, it represents the protector of the people and the guardian of the empire in our memories. Thanks to the resolve of the Ming dynasty and the collective effort of the people, the Great Wall has become a monument symbolizing China's determination and resilience to the world for hundreds of years. Ah, my dear friends, let's take a moment to listen to the stories of those who lived in the shadow of this massive structure, the great sacrifices and losses they endured. The Great Wall of China rose as a giant shield protecting an entire empire from outside threats. But behind this shield lies the indescribable pain and unforgettable memories of the people. This immense wall was built not just from stones, bricks, and piles of earth, but from the blood, sweat, and tears of its laborers. Since the time of the Yuan dynasty, the wall's construction involved peasants, artisans, prisoners, and young men who had not been enlisted in the army, all forming a massive workforce. For some, this task was seen as an honor, while for most it was a forced obligation, almost like a sentence of exile. As the weight of the stones bore down on their shoulders, these uprooted people were gathered together and tested for long periods with hunger and disease. Many of them realized they might never see their families again. The hardships they endured turned them into unforgettable characters in myths and legends. There's a famous legend that has spread among the people over the centuries and still lingers. A young woman named Meng Jiangnu sets out in search of her husband, who has been forced to work on the wall. She undertakes a long and arduous journey to find him, only to learn upon her arrival that her husband lost his life during the wall's construction. Meng Jiangnu's grief is so profound and heartfelt that her tears wash away parts of the wall. The tears she shed for her husband become a symbol of the pain the people felt towards the wall. This story has not been forgotten, my friends. That wall silently witnessed both victories and the deep sorrows of the people. And of course, dear friends, during those years when lives were sacrificed for this structure, the painful traces left behind were passed down from generation to generation. In every stone of the Great Wall, you can find not just the skill of engineers, but also the spirit, suffering, and resilience of the people. Every tower raised, every section expanded bears the mark left by thousands of laborers. This wall is not just a structure, it is a testament to the heavy price paid in resistance, loyalty, and the unforgettable struggle of the people. Ah, my dear friends, let me tell you how the Great Wall of China was not just a defensive structure, but also a guardian of one of history's greatest trade routes. That massive wall, you see, wasn't just a barrier against invasions, it was a protector. It stood right in the heart of the Silk Road, which was the lifeblood of trade, ensuring the safety of merchants and caravans. On that route, spices, silks, precious stones, and knowledge would travel across borders and countries, overcoming countless challenges. The role of the Great Wall in reviving the Silk Road was significant. The dazzling gates of the wall became safe passage points and stopping places for traders. Silks from the south, spices from the north, and gems from the west would meet at these points, covering unimaginable distances. However, the greatest fear for merchants on these long and arduous journeys was the raids from nomadic tribes in the north. That's why the Great Wall provided protection not just for soldiers, but also for traders. In areas close to the wall, soldiers from the Han and Tang dynasties would accompany caravans, creating a security network that supported trade. The economic impact. Ah, my friends, the sense of security raised by the Great Wall boosted the courage of merchants and stimulated trade. Cultures from distant lands reached the gates of China, and knowledge and crafts began to expand. The Great Wall not only ensured the safety of this vast trade route, but also acted as a cultural bridge. Markets, caravanserais, and small towns that sprung up at the foot of the wall grew alongside the development of trade. China didn't just become wealthier, this cultural exchange carried thoughts, inventions, and traditions beyond its borders. So you see, my friends, the Great Wall was not just a wall, it became a place where trade, cultures, and even empires thrived. Ah, my dear friends, let me tell you the story of not just a structure built from stone and earth, but also of the legends and myths that resonate deep within the human spirit. The Great Wall of China has served throughout history not only as a defensive barrier, but also as a stage for many tragic tales, legends, and myths. Within each stone, each brick, lies a story woven with folklore. During its initial construction, the villagers, whose hearts were as strong as mountains, faced great pain and loss while being forced to work on this massive project. Legend has it that some workers lost their lives in the building of this wall, and their spirits became trapped within its foundations. Because of this, some folk tales suggest that whispers of these spirits can be heard wandering around the wall at midnight. These whispers are passed down to future generations as symbols of resilience and sacrifice. Another legend springs from the deep love a woman had for her partner. This woman sat by the wall every day, waiting for her beloved, gazing into the distance while feeding the wall with her tears. Over time, this sorrowful wait transformed into the legend of the Wall of Tears. Everyone says that her tears were absorbed into the wall, making the stones even stronger, fueled by the power of love. The legendary events that took place during the wall's construction have become stories that go beyond just building a structure. They narrate the resilience of the human spirit and the greatness of love and sacrifice. These legends have taken root in the public memory, becoming part of their cultural identity. Each generation has strengthened its connection to the past by sharing these stories, leaving a rich history for future generations. In this way, my friends, the Great Wall is both a physical structure and a repository of culture and legend echoing in folk tales. Each stone holds a life story, and each corner contains a memory. Thus, it is not just a historical monument, but a cultural heritage. Every individual who visits the wall embarks on a journey beyond time, carrying these stories within themselves. My dear friends, let me share with you how the Great Wall of China has become more than just a physical structure. It has evolved into a cultural symbol throughout history. This massive structure has served not only as a line of defense for centuries, but also as a reflection of the spirit, identity, and cultural existence of the Chinese nation. As we dive into history, we can see that from the very beginning of its construction, the Great Wall became a symbol of the challenges faced by the Chinese people, the threats of nomadic invasions and internal strife. Life behind the wall was shaped not just by wars and conflicts, but also by solidarity, determination, and cultural integrity. The labor that people poured into this colossal structure was not merely a physical effort. It was also about building a sense of community and identity. The Great Wall has transcended its role as a military defense mechanism to help solidify national identity across different dynasties. From the Han Dynasty to the Ming Dynasty, the presence of this wall represented the Chinese people's desire for protection and their determination to maintain independence. Over time, this defensive barrier became an integral part of China's cultural and historical heritage, holding a special place in the hearts of its people. Today, the Great Wall is not just a monument to the past, but also a symbol of the modern world. Its designation as a UNESCO World Heritage Site reinforces its universal value and significance. Built and rebuilt over centuries, this wall now attracts millions of tourists from around the globe. Each year, visitors come to witness this magnificent structure, to experience its mysterious history, and to connect with its rich culture. The Great Wall offers more than just a visual spectacle. It provides an opportunity for a deep journey through history. This colossal structure allows people to establish a connection that transcends time. It offers a chance to listen to the echoes from the depths of history and trace the footsteps of the past. Each stone holds stories of pain and joy, and every corner opens doors to adventures filled with China's historical and cultural heritage. In conclusion, my dear friends, the Great Wall has gone beyond being just a structure throughout history. It has become a symbol of national identity, cultural heritage, and the human spirit. Standing in front of this wall today, you do not merely listen to the stories of the past, you also have the chance to immerse yourself in the flow of history. Thus, the Great Wall stands as both a monument to the past and a symbol of the future, opening doors to a journey deep within the identity of individuals and the collective spirit and history of a nation. Ah, dear friends, as we wrap up this long and grand journey, I want to take you back into the depths of history once more. Today we've discovered that the Great Wall of China is not just a structure but a symbol of a nation's spirit, culture, and determination. This massive monument stands as the most tangible example of a saga that represents the courage, unity, and resilience of the people throughout history. This wall, a silent witness to the past, is not just a defense against the attacks of nomads, it's like a storybook carrying the dreams, hopes, and sorrows of the people. Each stone is imbued with traces of a rich culture, a deep historical legacy, and the fighting spirit of humanity. As you walk along the long, winding paths of the wall, it's possible to hear the echoes of the past and feel the weight of centuries of experiences. That's why it holds importance not only as a physical structure, but also as a reflection of the human spirit. Thank you for being a part of this story today. You are the travelers following the deep marks of our history. By listening to the hidden stories behind each stone, you illuminate the past of our nation. I hope this journey has reminded you of the love for history, the importance of cultural ties, and the significance of national identity. If you enjoyed being on this journey with us, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exploration and adventure. With every new video, we'll take another step deeper into history. I wish for each of you to join us on this journey and share our stories. And now, dear friends, as we conclude this journey filled with the majesty of the Great Wall and the glory of the past, I want to remind you of the story of this magnificent structure that embodies the magic of history, the richness of cultural heritage, and the resilience of the human spirit. Together, we will continue to keep this story alive as a legacy to be passed down to future generations. Remember, every piece of history is a story of humanity, and we are the living witnesses of this tale. See you in the next video, my friends. Take care.